Chapter 1, The Fall That Woke Me Up. Have you ever failed so hard you thought you would never get back up? Picture this. You're standing on a stage. The lights are blinding. Your heart is pounding. You open your mouth to speak and nothing comes out. Silence. The audience stares. Your mind goes blank. And in that moment, you feel it. Failure. Raw. Public. Unforgiving. That was me 5 years ago, giving my first talk, and I bombed. I forgot my lines. I panicked. I walked off the stage with tears in my eyes and shame in my chest. I wanted to disappear. I told myself I wasn't cut out for this. I almost quit. But something strange happened. That night, I sat alone in my room, replaying every second of that disaster. And instead of running from it, I leaned in. I asked myself, what did I learn? What did I miss? What will I do differently next time? And that was the moment failure stopped being my enemy and became my teacher. What if I told you that failure isn't the opposite of success? It's the pathway to it. Think about it. Every great story begins with a fall. Every hero faces defeat. Every breakthrough is born from breakdown. So why are we so afraid of failing? Because we've been taught that failure is shameful. That it's weakness. That it's something to hide. But here's the truth. Failure is feedback. Failure is growth. Failure is the fire that forges greatness. In this talk, we're going to explore failure, not as a curse, but as a gift. We'll dive into stories of people who failed spectacularly and rose even higher. We'll uncover the lessons hidden in our own stumbles. And we'll learn how to fail forward with courage, clarity, and conviction. So if you've ever failed, if you've ever felt broken, lost, or stuck, this is for you. In Chapter 2, we'll meet a man who failed over 1,000 times and changed the world because of it. Ready to be inspired? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 2, The Man Who Failed 1,000 Times. What if I told you that the light in your room exists because someone refused to give up after failing again and again and again and again? Let's talk about Thomas Edison. You've probably heard his name. Inventor of the light bulb, holder of over 1,000 patents. A symbol of genius. But here's what they don't teach you in school. Edison failed. A lot. In fact, he failed over 1,000 times trying to invent the light bulb. Can you imagine that? 1,000 experiments, 1,000 attempts, 1,000 moments where he said, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But he didn't. When asked about his failures, Edison famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not just optimism. That's resilience. That's a mindset. Have you ever given up after one rejection, one mistake, one moment of embarrassment? What if you kept going? What if failure wasn't a stop sign, but a stepping stone? Edison's story teaches us something powerful. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about outlasting it. It's about showing up again and again and again. Because every failure carries a lesson. Every setback sharpens your strategy. Every no brings you closer to the yes that matters. So the next time you feel like quitting, remember Edison. Remember the man who lit up the world by refusing to let failure dim his fire. In Chapter 3, we'll explore how failure shapes identity and how your lowest moments can reveal your highest truth. Ready to go deeper? Let's dive in. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 3, Failure as Identity. Who are you when it all falls apart? Have you ever failed so deeply you questioned who you really are? Let's talk about identity, not your job title, not your Instagram bio. I mean the raw, unfiltered you when no one's watching. And everything's falling apart because here's the truth. Success is loud. Failure is quiet. And in that silence, you meet yourself. Let me tell you about Maya. Maya was a rising star in corporate finance. She had the credentials, the charisma, the corner office. Everyone admired her. She was unstoppable. Until she wasn't. One day, a deal she led collapsed. Millions lost. Reputation shattered. She was blamed. She was fired. She was humiliated. And for the first time in her life, Mia had no title, no team, no applause. She sat alone in her apartment, staring at the walls, asking, who am I without success? Have you ever asked that? Have you ever felt like failure stripped away everything you thought you were? But here's what happened next. Mia started journaling. She volunteered at a local shelter. She reconnected with her love for writing, something she hadn't done since college. And slowly she rebuilt, not her career, herself. Today, Mayo is a published author and a speaker on resilience. She says her failure didn't break her, it introduced her to herself. Because when success is gone, what remains is truth. Failure forces you to confront your values, your fears, your desires. It strips away the performance and reveals the person. So the next time you fail, don't just ask what went wrong. Ask, what did I learn about me? Because failure isn't just feedback. It's a mirror. And sometimes the reflection is exactly what you need to see. In Chapter 4, we'll explore how failure fuels innovation and how the world's greatest breakthroughs were born from breakdowns. Ready to turn your mess into magic? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 4, Failure Fuels Innovation, Turning Breakdown into Breakthrough. What if I told you that every invention, every revolution, every masterpiece began with a mistake? Let's talk about innovation. We often imagine it as a flash of genius, a light bulb moment, a stroke of brilliance. But here's the truth. Innovation is messy. It's chaotic. It's filled with wrong turns, broken prototypes, and sleepless nights. Let me tell you about James Dyson. Yes, the guy behind the vacuum cleaner. Before Dyson became a billionaire inventor, he built 5,126 failed prototypes. Let that number sink in. 5,126. That's not persistence. That's obsession. That's belief in the power of failure. Each prototype taught him something. Each failure refined the design. Each setback brought him closer to the breakthrough. And today, Dyson is a global brand. Because he didn't just tolerate failure, he used it. Have you ever given up on an idea because it didn't work the first time? What if the failure was part of the formula? Think about Post-it notes. They were born from a failed adhesive. Think about penicillin, discovered by accident after a failed experiment. Failure isn't the opposite of innovation. It's the engine of it, because when you fail, you're forced to rethink, to reimagine, to rebuild. And in that process, something new is born. So the next time your idea flops, celebrate it, study it, use it, because your next failure might just be your first breakthrough. In Chapter 5, we'll explore how failure builds emotional strength and how your scars can become your superpowers. Ready to turn pain into power? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 5, Emotional Strength, Turning Scars into Superpowers. Have you ever looked at your past and thought, you'll never recover from that? Let's talk about pain. Not the kind you can bandage. I mean, the kind that sits in your chest. The kind that whispers, you're not enough. The kind that failure leaves behind. But here's the truth. Pain is not the end. It's the beginning of power. Let me introduce you to Eric. Eric was a professional athlete, fast, fierce, focused. He trained for the Olympics. He was one race away from qualifying when he tore his ACL. In seconds, his dream collapsed. His identity shattered. His body betrayed him. He spiraled. Depression, isolation, rage. But one day, Eric did something radical. He started speaking, not about victory, about failure. He shared his story at schools, rehab centers, and online. And people listened because his pain was real and his courage was contagious. Today, Eric is a mental health advocate and founder of a nonprofit for injured athletes. He says, "My scar became my superpower." Have you ever tried to hide your pain, to pretend you're fine when you're falling apart? Here's the truth. Your scars are not shameful. They're sacred. They show you've lived, you've fought, you've survived. And when you share them, you give others permission to heal too. Failure doesn't just build resilience. It builds empathy. It builds depth. It builds emotional strength that no success ever could. So the next time you feel broken, ask yourself, what if this crack is where the light gets in? Because your story, your real, raw, unfiltered story, might be the very thing that saves someone else. In Chapter 6, we'll explore how failure teaches humility and how falling down can help you rise with grace, ready to embrace the fall. Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 6. Humility through failure. Rising with grace, not ego. Have you ever succeeded so fast you forgot what it felt like to fall? Let's talk about humility. Not the kind that's performative. Not the kind that says, I'm just lucky. I mean the kind that's earned through falling, through failing, through facing yourself. Because here's the truth. Success can inflate your ego. Failure deflates it and reveals your essence. Let me tell you about Claire. Claire was a tech entrepreneur. Her app went viral. Investors lined up. She was featured in Forbes. She was unstoppable until the market shifted. Her app crashed. Users left. Investors pulled out. And suddenly, Claire was no longer the golden girl. She was just Claire. She said something powerful in an interview later. Failure stripped away my arrogance and gave me back my humanity. Have you ever felt untouchable until life touched you? Here's what failure does. It humbles you. It reminds you that you're not invincible. It reconnects you to others because now you understand their pain. And in that humility, something beautiful happens. You become a better leader, a better friend, a better human. Think about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. He failed to stop apartheid until he did. And when he rose, he didn't rise with vengeance. He rose with grace because failure had shaped him, softened him, strengthened him. So the next time you fall, don't just ask, how do I get back up? Ask, how do I rise differently? Because failure doesn't just change your path, it changes your posture. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is bow your head, open your heart and say, I'm still learning. In Chapter 7, we'll explore how failure builds connection and how your vulnerability can become your greatest bridge to others. Ready to turn isolation into intimacy? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new video every day. Chapter 7. Connection through vulnerability. How failure brings us closer. Have you ever shared your failure and felt someone finally understood you? Let's talk about connection. Real connection. Not likes, not follows, not networking. I mean the kind of connection that makes you feel seen, heard. And here's the paradox. We think success connects us, but it's failure that truly does. Let me tell you about Jordan. Jordan was a high-achieving student, valedictorian, Ivy League, internships at top firms. On paper, he was perfect, but inside he was crumbling. He had anxiety. He felt like a fraud. He was terrified of disappointing everyone. One night, after a panic attack, Jordan wrote a blog post titled, I'm not okay, and that's okay. He shared everything. The pressure, the fear, the failures. He hit publish and braced for judgment. But what happened next shocked him. Thousands of messages poured in. Students, parents, executives, all saying the same thing. Me too. Jordan realized something profound. His vulnerability didn't push people away. It pulled them in. Have you ever hidden your failure, thinking it would make you unlovable? Here's the truth. Your brokenness is not a barrier. It's a bridge. When you share your struggles, you give others permission to share theirs. When you show your scars, you remind others they're not alone. And in that space, connection is born. Not from perfection, but from truth. Think about Brene Brown. Her TED Talk on vulnerability has over 60 million views. Why? Because she dared to say, I struggle too. So the next time you fail, don't just bury it, share it, speak it, own it, because your story might be the lifeline someone else is waiting for. In Chapter 8, we'll explore how failure leads to reinvention and how falling apart can be the first step to becoming someone new. Ready to transform? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 8. Reinvention through failure, becoming who you were meant to be. What if I told you that falling apart is sometimes the only way to come together? Let's talk about reinvention, not just changing jobs, not just switching careers. I mean the kind of reinvention that happens when your old life no longer fits and failure forces you to shed it. Let me tell you about Sophia. Sophia was a fashion designer in Milan. Her brand was growing. Her name was rising. She was living the dream. Until one season, her entire collection flopped. Critics tore it apart. Buyers pulled out. Her investors left. She was devastated. She felt like a fraud. She questioned everything. But in that silence, something stirred. Sophia began sketching again, not for the market, but for herself. She explored sustainable fabrics. She studied indigenous textile traditions. She traveled. She listened. She evolved. And slowly, a new vision emerged. Today, Sophia runs a global, ethical fashion brand. Her failure didn't end her. It transformed her. Have you ever felt like your life collapsed and you didn't know who you were anymore? Here's the truth. Failure is a doorway. It invites you to step out of who you were and into who you're becoming. It strips away the roles, the expectations, the masks, and in that rawness, you find clarity. Think about Oprah. She was fired from her first news job, told she was unfit for television, and today, she's one of the most influential voices on the planet. Not despite her failure, because of it. So the next time your world falls apart, don't rush to rebuild it the same way. Ask yourself, what wants to be born from this? Because sometimes the breakdown is the breakthrough, and the person you become after failure is the one you were always meant to be. In Chapter 9, we'll explore how failure teaches us to define success on our own terms, and why your greatest win might look nothing like what you expected. Ready to rewrite the rules? Let's go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day. Chapter 9, Redefining Success, Writing Your Own Rules After Failure. What if I told you that your greatest success might look nothing like what you once imagined? Let's talk about success. We chase it, we measure it, we compare it. But do we ever stop to ask, whose definition am I living by? Society says success is money, titles, followers, prestige. But here's the truth. Success is personal, and failure is often the invitation to redefine it. Let me tell you about Min. Min was a corporate lawyer in Singapore. He had the salary, the suits, the skyline view. But he also had migraines, insomnia, a constant ache in his chest. One day, after losing a major case, Min was forced to take a leave of absence. He felt like a failure. He questioned everything. But in that pause, he began to reflect. He remembered his love for teaching. He started tutoring law students. He felt alive again. Today, Min is a professor. He earns less, but he smiles more. He says, I failed at the life I was told to want, and succeeded at the life I was meant to live. Have you ever chased a version of success that didn't feel like yours? Here's the gift of failure. It interrupts the script. It forces you to ask, what do I really want? What does success feel like, not just look like? Think about J.K. Rowling. She was broke, depressed, rejected by 12 publishers, and today, she's one of the most successful authors in history. But she says her rock bottom was the foundation on which she rebuilt her life. So the next time you fail, don't just try to bounce back. Ask, do I even want to go back to that version of success? Because sometimes failure isn't a detour. It's a divine redirection. And the life you build after failure, on your terms, with your values, for your joy, that's real success. In Chapter 10, we'll bring it all together and explore how embracing failure can become a lifelong philosophy of growth, courage, and authenticity. Ready to live fearlessly? Let's finish strong. Chapter 10, The Philosophy of Failure, Living Fearlessly, Growing Continuously. What if I told you that the most successful people aren't the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who embrace it? Let's talk about fear. Fear of falling, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. It's the silent force that shapes our choices. It tells us to play safe, to stay small, to avoid risk. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't disappear when you succeed. It disappears when you fail and realize you survived. Let me tell you about Layla. Layla was a dancer. She trained for years. She auditioned for a prestigious company and was rejected. Brutally. She cried. She doubted. She almost quit. But then she asked herself, what if I dance anyway? So she did. She danced in parks. She danced on sidewalks. She posted videos online. And one day, her raw, unpolished, passionate performance went viral. Today, Layla teaches movement therapy to trauma survivors. She says, failure gave me freedom. It broke the rules I didn't know I was allowed to break. Have you ever let fear stop you from trying? Here's the invitation. Let failure be your teacher. Let it be your compass. Let it be your proof that you're alive. Because when you fail, you grow. When you fail, you learn. When you fail, you become. And that's not just a moment. It's a mindset. It's a philosophy, a way of living that says, I will show up, I will risk, I will fall, and I will rise. So as we close this journey, I leave you with this. Don't fear failure, fear regret, fear the life unlived, fear the dreams untried. Because the most beautiful life isn't the one without scars. It's the one where every scar tells a story of courage. So, Kelvin, what will you dare to fail at next? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to watch new videos every day.